Thank you.
So I'm just getting around, walking around, asking people why they're here today. Stuff. You go on camera for a couple minutes and say why you're here today and stuff like that. Ask you some questions. Is that all right?
Can you afford to place that camera?
What's that?
Can you afford to place that camera?
No, peace, man, peace, brother.
No, not
trying to figure out.
No, I'm just saying. Not that way. You took it the wrong way. I let her break your camera. I'm not a very good photogenic person.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were going to break it.
No.
No, I was just wondering because I noticed you said pro-guns on your shirt. I was wondering, are you aware of the credit card bill that Obama signed last year expanding gun rights so you can bring a gun into a state park?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to let you know that. And I noticed you're Friends of Coal.
Right.
So are you, what do you mean by Friends of Coal?
Well,
by that?
Friends of Coal is actually an association down in West Virginia, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. It's a non-profit group. We promote the industry as a whole.
Okay.
Coal is it's a resource to be mined with respect to the environment, but also with advanced civilization of mankind.
Yeah.
People don't understand, coal is what built the Industrial Revolution. It's also sustained us through 2 world wars and other conflicts. People don't understand, you gotta have coal to make coke. Coke in turn makes steel, steel makes the armaments.
Yeah. Well, you probably heard about the 11 people that died in the Upper Big Branch mine.
Yes, I
in the mass energy.
Yes, I am.
Of course, they're still going to have the hearings to look into it. The possibility that the company may have cut corners for exhaust fans to bring the methane out to make more money and possibly endangered or killed those guys. Or are you for government to come in and regulate the industry to make sure the workers are safe?
Well, has the government regulated industry in their country to the point where we can't have industry in this country no more? That's why your industry is leaving, going to foreign nations.
So you're saying there should be some regulation, but not too much?
There should be some regulation, more regulation by self-governing people.
Okay.
The companies themselves should regulate themselves.
Oh,
okay?
Wow.
That's where it comes down to.
But what if a company puts profit in front of the workers?
Well, every company's going to put profit in front of workers. Because, matter of fact, they're not a .org, they're a .com.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't care what they tell you, money is their priority. They're stockholders, paying money.
So you think if the majority of the community wanted to elect politicians that made laws to regulate to help those workers, you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay, well right now it's a bad thing. Going back to what I said, look how many laws we have passed on American workers and companies in the last 15, 20 years. Has it helped their economy? It has not. Stop was a company. The more government gets involved in the private sector, the less freedom people have. The less freedom and control individual companies have over their own destiny. Okay?
But do you think the more freedom you give to the companies, that you have to take away freedom from the workers?
No. There should be middle ground. That's where companies, management, and the labor is going to have to come to the middle on their own, without the third party. Okay, capitalism is the best.
Who's going to represent the workers?
They should represent themselves.
Like in a union?
No.
How?
If a union, if a company has...
How would the people without a union represent themselves if you gave them advice? How would they? In
this day and age, when the unions first began, there was definitely some disastrous things happening to the men. I'm very aware of that because I grew up in Southern West Virginia.
No, I understand the history of unions. I'm just saying, how would a worker without a union fight for their rights? How would they do that? How would they go about doing that?
If you work for a company that's mistreating you as an individual, you as an individual have your right and your duty to take your wares, which is your labor and your knowledge, and go to another company. That's called the free market. Guess what? When a company loses all its key employees, they'll get the message because they're no longer be in existence.
So they all should just quit in mass.
They go out one at a time.
So that's like a union on strike, isn't it? In a way?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought, sorry.
No.
But
it goes back to the individual discipline. If I'm working for an abusive company or an employer, I have a duty and a right to take my labor, my knowledge, and sell it to another company who's going to respect that. By doing that, you keep that company in check. At the same time, you keep the consumer price low. The free market works, and then government has nothing to say in it. In other words, don't give the government any leeway, because once the government's got their foot in the door, guess what? Both the company and the employee have to answer to the government. Nobody wins. The company doesn't win, the employee doesn't win, the consumer doesn't win. The government wins. Because that's not what happened in our country in the last 30, 40 years. That's why we're here today.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Not being hostile. A lot of people.
I know.
Take care.